Hello and welcome to the Season 1 Week 6 BOP tier list video. This week's data was captured Thursday afternoon CST using the iRacing Reports Discord, link below. Starting off with the Touring Car Challenge, this week it goes to Mount Panorama Circuit, which is also the location of the bi-weekly Michelin Pilot Challenge solo endurance race this weekend. And for the Fixed Series, well, in one of the worst discrepancies I can remember seeing all year, the Elantra is S+ tier this week, ahead by a country mile. At approximately a second and a half behind on the median pace is the Veloster going B- tier. The Audi C, the Civic over 3 seconds off pace to the lead car is in a D- position. Here's your tier list this week for Mount Panorama. Alright, and for the Open Series, not much change for the Elantra, still dominant in S+ tier. The others do get closer. I have the Veloster in the B tier with the RS3 C+ and the Civic C. So here's your Touring Car Challenge Open tier list for this week at Bathurst. Alright, moving on to the GT4 series, which is also at Mount Panorama. And for the Fixed Series, for the majority of the season, BOP has been pretty excellent, although this week the Mercedes isn't holding back, going S+ tier. The BMW goes a B+, the Aston Martin and McLaren B, Porsche rolling last in D tier. I will say, even though the medians are what they are, box plot bounds themselves are not too terribly off from each other, indicating to me that this is likely more about surviving Mount Panorama in one piece than it is what you drive this week. So do consider driving what you feel the safest around this exhilarating yet difficult track. And with that said, here's your GT4 Challenge Fixed tier list for this week. Alright, and for the Open Series, setup adjustments do seem to highlight that maybe the BOP isn't as far off as we saw in that Fixed Series. Porsche, however, still not saved, going D tier. The BMW and Aston Martin both B+, McLaren A, while that Merc comes down very slightly, going S tier. So here's your GT4 Challenge Open setup tier list for this week at Bathurst. Alright, in the GT3 Challenge Fixed goes to the new free track introduced just last season, Rudskogen. Now the BOP with the fixed setups is looking pretty solid this week, with the Audi taking the crown at this shorter, pretty twisty track going S tier. About 0.5 seconds from the Audi median pace is the Lamborghini going A tier, followed by the BMW in A-, with the McLaren, Ferrari, Porsche, and Mercedes sitting in B tier. And that Ford with only 17 data points is going to go down in inconclusive. And so here's your GT3 Challenge Fixed tier list for this week at Rudskogen Motor Center. And just a quick note, if you're enjoying this BOP video, drop the hammer on that like and sub button if you haven't already. And if you would like to show a little bit more support for the work I put into these types of videos, there's also that super thanks and join buttons below. Alright, now let's take a look at how those BOPs pan out in the GT3s in a 40-minute open setup VRS Sprint race. And with the setup adjustments allowed, it looks like the field separates a bit than what we saw in that Fixed Series. The Audi starts to blow out the field a bit, going S+, followed not too far behind by the Lamborghini going A+. Then I got the BMW B-, McLaren and Ferrari C+, with the Porsche and C. With the Mercedes looking like it's having a rough go here, going D tier. With that Ford with not enough data, going inconclusive. And so here's your VRS GT3 Sprint tier list for Rudskogen. Okay, the multi-class open setup IMSA Hagerty series also goes to Daytona this week, ahead of that huge Daytona 24 event this weekend. Do be aware, the 24 event BOP has been applied to this series this week, as I covered in a first look video earlier this week into the BOP of this series. Well, let's see if anything has changed since we looked at it back on Wednesday, I believe it was. And of course, we're going to throw all the cars into a good old tier list. Alright, overall, every car median value is falling within a second of the faster car this week, which is that Audi going A+. And just a nose here behind the Audi is the Porsche going A. Next up I have the Lambo in a B+, the BMW and Mercedes B, with the Ferrari at the direct opposite of that 1 second window from the Audi going B-. Now I've seen some complaints in the official forums about the BOP being changed again so soon before the event, mostly from Porsche running teams of course, and I get their frustration with having to retune the cars and get comfortable again with the new setup adjustments with only 4 days notice. However, in checking some of today's race results in the IMSA races, I've seen a lot of Audis with only some Porsches and Lambos mixed in from the higher split as it is. I can only imagine seeing entire splits just being Porsches if this adjustment wasn't given what we saw off the IMSA endurance data earlier in the week. Then, of course, as a result of this entire field being a lot closer, we should see a big mix of cars in the lower splits able to all compete, which I find much more interesting. Now, please share your opinions if you think iRacing should or should not have made this last minute BOP adjustment to the Porsche 4 days before the event in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you think. But with that all said, here's that IMSA Hagerty Series GT3 tier list for this week at Daytona. And last but not least, we'll quickly hit that European Sprint Series, which goes to the new circuit, Magny-Cours. And well, unfortunately, the GTE field is near empty this week, giving us no usable results as everyone's focus is on Daytona this week. So there you have it, folks. Please go check out one of my other most recent videos up in the right hand corner. And when I do stream, I do some of my longer official races in league racing here on this channel. And I also do some other various games outside of racing over my other YouTube channel. So links below for that, as well as my other socials. And until next time, safe driving.